This clip is brought to you by BoutTheOnline.com.
Okay, pretty much that, man. Like you said, I was a young teenage dad, man. At 17, you know what I mean? 17 years old, it was official. My son just, a firstborn son, he just turned 31, actually a few days back, December 9th.
Congrats.
So with me trying to push that and still pursue that as a kid, with Louisiana not being New York or California, and it's our how would you say that our motto is like it's called a dream state. Louisiana is called a dream state. And so I learned along the way. That's all you're gonna have to pursue if you don't, you know what I mean? Take different things serious and put some action behind your dream theory, you know what I mean? Your thought process. So I eventually started looking in those directions, of course, but didn't have access to them. But later in life, that'll come. But I didn't want to spend how can I put this, man? Well, I can't really say. I kind of had to evolve into what it was coming from where I came from. But kind of X that out your mind and still keep focused on the dream and keep on pushing the pursuit in that sense of the word. So wow, a lot come to mind when you say that, man. Okay, you got me. That part, yeah, man. Later in life, of course, minus the trains and what have we had city buses and different access to cars and the homies and stuff like that. So everybody had the backroom studios eventually. And I would meet a guy by the name of Minelli, which was called, he had a different rap name at the time, but he was about 11 years old. And shouts out to his family, and my family, and our street family for that matter, that connected us when he was I was that young teenage father. I was 17, he was 11 growing. And we had like a 2-year phone relationship where I even saw him in real life. About 13, he started to come back over here to his family in the city. My people took me to see him. And we started to mark like we always did. And eventually, years later, he developed a crew called Laylo that consisted of the members on J. Vaughn and Happy Perez. You know what I mean? So we'll spend a lot of time at our parents' house recording demo tapes and different things like that. And I didn't start solo as a kid. Shouts out to my brother Darian Williams, my street brother Darian Williams. But we was trying to emulate Ron DMC. You know what I'm saying? So, but I kept going with it, and he kind of left the rap alone. We still friends and brothers to this day. But he had a different route. I had the same but different route. So fast forward the tape up the guy was looking for guys to continue that type of for that legacy for that matter. And Mac was one of the first, as well as my brother, Lucky Knuckles, my other street brother, 211, and just different guys in the neighborhood that I spent time. I had turntables and stuff like that in the back room, DJs in the neighborhood. So I spent a lot of time hooking up and experimenting in the back room, just trying to develop a sound and a style. So anybody that was around me, I tried to make a part of that. And eventually, Fish to Water, Mac Minelli was one of those guys that came along that was doing what he was doing. From a young guy perspective, reminded me a lot of myself. So young and here again, 9, 11 years old, and I would meet him at 11. So okay, I was interested to see his evolution in that sense. So once we got together here again, fast forward the tape, and we'll come into certain things. Me and the guy CeeLo had been homies, you know what I mean, on mama since kids. They went to school together before we was born. So later on, naturally in life, we didn't go to the same elementary school, went to the same middle school. And
Okay.
rumor, not really rumor. We started to try to formulate a rap group. No particular name. I think his name was DJ Ace or something at the time. He was inspired to be a DJ, and I still was on my rap travel. So it was rumored in that sense around the school for the public, but just from the horse's mouth, he was my DJ. But we never really did talent shows. We never made demo tapes. We never did nothing. It was just known around the school. I used to beatbox battle and pop lock and break dance type of things. You know what I mean? And the commons area at lunchtime. But we never evolved at that time into a group. So fast forward the tape from middle school to somewhere around 93, 94. I had already put my tape out in the street corner. We'll see each other in the neighborhood. And he wasn't really, I guess behind the scenes trying to redevelop his musical career. We would link around that time. He come to one of my houses in the hood and asked if I still making music. Of course, he started to work. I come in like at the end of his solo debut to the world, Who's Gonna Ride, and started to help out on a few records. Ghost wrote a song on there, the Never Say Die song I Ghost wrote. No Mercy, I did a hook in, and the rest of the record was pretty much complete. But that would re-involve me and his circle of friends and family and the rest of the city and the radio station. So as all that was happening, Maximum was still around, and I was continuing to run into other rap guys throughout the city and females alike. And eventually, as the record label was evolving, we was birthing as a click of lace. I said we need a overall name that signifies all. Like I said, I didn't start solo, so I always thought I'm a Gemini, I think at least twice or better, the great multitasker. So in that sense, for as hip hop, coming back to New York, started saying that sense, clicolation development, a lot of people had kind of regime type of titles and stuff like that. Wu-Tang, we was kind of like a Southern Wu-Tang, where it wasn't about one man, one mic, the two MCs and the DJ, you see what I'm saying? You go back to the Cold Crush, you know what I mean, and 4-5 MC, we more like, not when I mention in comparison to Wu-Tang, 9 or 10 guys that was rapping. So to make records like that, it's easy to do a traditional 16. But me being kind of hip-hop connoisseur, I follow a pattern that I call no guidelines, just evolve with the music, however it starts. And as that started to come together, everybody brought something to the table. And I said, we need a one name, a name pretty much to solidify us all. So I went back to my whole thought process of what this meant to me right before we got to the big time. And keep in mind, I didn't start off at 9 years old with the name Young Bleed. But I was always in that sense, because that was my grandfather's name, Good Bleed. So before he was passed, by the time I was 10 years old, I shared with him throughout life one day that I wanted to be a rapper. Once I got that glitch at 8, 9. And I'm going to be a rapper one day, Papa, and I'm going to own a record company. I used to watch Richard Rich cartoon a lot, you know what I mean? So I just said, I want to have, stuff like that. He had said, you can get it if you learn to do one thing. Keep in mind, my grandfather went blind along the way. His mother went blind, my great-grandmother. So I was, in one sense, the CNI dog. I was always with him, or at least when I was there for the weekend, the summers, and sometime in the breaking up of my mother and father, we was kind of, slash grandparents raised, go for the granny house. So my grandparents crib and all that, but so I thought back to what all this meant to me. Everything we're talking about now, and this time it's for the money. And once I grow into this name and the world know this name, I can never take it back. I mean, you can switch it up, but you confuse the population of the people. So I changed my name one last time to Young Bleed, and that's a whole different story. But in reference to that, my granddaddy was a World War II veteran. In the Hitler War. I'm born on D-Day. You see what I'm saying? My birthday is June 6, 1974.
Wow.
So in elementary school, I was always interested in the diarrhea and Frank and things of that nature. Didn't know what I was studying, evolving into. So by the time I grew into a man, and I look back at what it all meant, the whole story of the concentration camp, in one sense, is my life. You see what I'm saying? My nickname is Tank from the neighborhood, from the family street, from my grandfather told my mother when she was pregnant with me that her stomach reminded him of one of them Abrams Army tanks that he was in that war. So he said, if you have a little boy, that's what I'm going to name before I was here. So I had a nickname before I had a real name. Junior after my father. But later in life, chip off the old block, you know what I mean? The apple don't fall too far from the tree. I took all that and morphed it into Young Bleed, and shouts out to my brother Robert Butler, man, one of my lifetime true friends and OG brothers in the street. We worked at a Pizza Hut joint, several Pizza Hut. Shout out to James and all the guys before me. My friend's father, that was the manager that would give us jobs out of high school. If I was paying child support with a case, I would go over there and do what I had to do. But his young executives, the guys that was, a year or two older than me that managed the building. And in that break time, they'll let me do what I have to do. If I had talent shows, I needed to go right in the back. My homeboys held me down. I could do whatever I needed to do, hustle in and out of Pizza Hut. We talk about these things now. And eventually, I was on the lunch break one day. My partner, Robert Butler, we called him Pap for short, come to me. And he was managing. I was working, doing the closing for him. He said, man, I always read the Mafia book. I was really interested in the mob, and I liked the stories and different things like that. So I could read this Gambino or mob book or whatever. And he come to me and say, man, you look like Don Carleone sitting over here eating a pizza, reading these Mafia books. So it clicked with me then. So I added the Carleone for my partner, the Young Bleed, and just made it a whole first, middle, last name, life, love, legacy thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And eventually we passed all that on to the homies as far as the idea for a name. Local owned the label and gave us a place to nourish, morph into what we would become. So I just took that whole evolution of myself, birth, the wall, my granddaddy, and said it, we more like on a concentration camp of meditating monk that's kind of like a purgatory. A lot of us died, murdered, went to jail. So the rap thing was like a breeze that kind of preserved it, took us off the street and all the other different conflicts in life that we could kind of pray, meditate, and focus on a better future. So that was my whole evolution for starting the idea of the concentration camp. You know what I mean? Just having an overall unlimited circulation name that we continued to get other members from other states. It wasn't just about our neighborhood. It wasn't just about me. It wasn't just about Low. Shout out to Meat Time. To where we could have an open door that was empty. So me looking at the earth being our church in that sense, I really looked at the logo, the Dub C in the Mad Circle. Rest in peace to Coolio and Crazy Tony. Shout out to Dub C. And that whole, exactly. So the whole thing about, the logo, if you remember that logo they had, it was the earth and the barbed wire fence. I said, that's like a concentration camp. All that was my evolution and thought process at the time. I passed that on the low. And eventually, he liked it. Me, Max, and my brother and them was already running under the term. You see what I'm saying? Ducky Knuckles, my brother. So he liked it, and pretty much the rest of history. Went on to do several projects like that. Me, about 1 or 2, and then we had a great group breakup and all that separated our ties and different things like that. Before the evolution of what got us to that plateau. Yeah, the story of my life, my brother.